So this is a flowchart of the previous program. So first to start, then set the count is equal to 0 and the sum is equal to 0. Then check that the count value is less than 5. So this is our condition. So we are using one diamond shape. So if the condition is true, which means that so now count becomes 0. Then the condition is true. Then we move to the x part. So s part means is take the number from the keyboard, input the number, then add that number to the sum. So sum is equal to sum plus 1. So after taking the first number, we are going to increment the count by 1. So this is the statements to be repeated. So we are going to move to the check the condition statement again. So go back to the count less than 5. This is called a loop. So look at that is in a closed circuit. So this is called a loop. So any closed circuit is called a loop. So after count is equal to count plus 1, we are going to again check that count less than 5. So if the count is now 1, because initially count is equal to 0, so increment the count by 1, 0 plus 1, now count is 1. So again check that the count is less than 5. So again condition is yes. So take the second number, then add to that number, sum to that number, then again to indicate that one number is input from the number, we are going to increment the counter by 1 again. So after incrementing the counter, we are always go back to the condition and check. So when the count is greater than or equal to 5, then the condition become false. So it is moved to the right side, then find the average is equal to that sum divided by 5. So after print the average and stop. So this is called a repetition. Okay, so repetition. So here this is an explanation of that program. I already explained that. So the counter is called count to keep track of number of times the loops has been repeated. So after every iteration of the loop, the value of count is incremented by 1 until it performs the set of number of repetition. So here, so there are some situations when we are not aware beforehand about the number of times a set of statements need to be repeated. For example, here we are using, here we can know that only 5 times the loop to be executed. So some cases we know about how many times it is going to repeat. So that time, so such a sequence of unknown number of repetitions we are handling using while construct. So you can look at that here. Here another example. Look at that. The pseudocode and draw the flowchart to accept the number till the user enters 0 and find their average. So here, so the before the previous program, our condition is only 5 number. So here we are not know the condition. The condition is become when the user input the 0, then only stop the program. This is our condition. So same as the previous program, we first set the count is equal to 0 and sum is equal to 0. Then input the number. Then check that that is number equal to 0. If while the number is not equal to 0, this is our condition. When so it means that when the number is equal to 0, we just stop the repetition. So check that while the number is not equal to 0. So the second step, we input one number, then check that that number is not equal to 0. If the number is not equal to 0, so step 4 to 6 are repeated. So same as sum is equal to sum plus number. So increment the counter by 1, then input the second number. So after taking the sixth step means input the number. So after taking the sixth statement, we are going to back to step 3, which means that we are going to again check that number is equal to 0. So if the number is not equal to 0, then again the repetition of steps 4 to 6. So this while loop is going to stop when the user input to 0. So when the user input to 0, then only that loop is terminated or stopped. So after when the user input the 0, it is automatically moved to the step 7 because the while statement is false. So after going to the step 7, compute average is equal to sum by count. Sum by count means here in the previous example we are know the count become 5, but here we are not know the actual count. So count is incremented by 1 by 1 in the loop. So after that we are getting the count value, means that how many numbers are taken. So sum is equal to sum by count. Finally print the average.